Okay, so then we will, is everybody here? So we will open up the meeting of Nantucket Visitor Service Committee, May 16th, 2019. The Comet Water Company. This meeting is audio-video recorded. And have the approval of the minutes from April 16th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So then, turn it over to Janet. Do you want to introduce Pauline?
Hi, Pauline. Well, thanks for coming.
Good morning,
Oh,
thanks for
Susan,
having
one
me.
second. Karen's going to be standing up her back.
My back.
Ha.
Okay.
So Pauline is the executive director of the Egan Maritime Institute, but I think we first met when you were at the school, community school, maybe even before that.
Still is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we go back a ways, and it's been fun following her career, and she's done some fabulous things at the Egan Maritime Institute, including the Lynx, which is sitting out in the harbor.
I love
So
the Lynx.
I'm gonna let her tell you what's going on, and well, as much as you want to tell us about what's going on
Great.
this summer.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for this opportunity. I always enjoy coming to speak with new groups to share about what we're doing at the Shipwreck and Life Saving Museum, and also through Sea of Opportunities education program in our school systems. I always think it's nice to have visuals, so I'm going to hand these out after I finish speaking. But I'd like to just kind of cover two of our main programs. One is the Shipwreck and Life Saving Museum, which is out on Pulpus Road. It opened in 1968. It was a love and a treasure of Bob Caldwell, who had a wonderful collection. His friend Gordon Kinney had helped him collect a wonderful group of maritime artifacts. And people kept saying, you got to do something with this. You got to get it out of your yard and do something. So he built the Life Saving Museum, and it stayed there, or still in the same location, for many years. And in around 2002, the Life Saving Museum approached Egan Maritime Foundation and said, would you have an interest in working together with us and helping us continue to tell the story of our lifesavers? And so in 2004, we had an official merger with the Life Saving Museum, and it reopened in 2008 after an extensive renovation to the building that you see today. And we're very proud of the stories that we tell out there. It's a small, I sort of call it a boutique museum. We've tried over the last several years to make it very hands-on, friendly, and experiential learning for our families that come out. And this year, I'm proud to say that we are telling the story of the British Queen. And that was a wreck off of Nantucket that we know that the Mooney family came to Nantucket through that awful experience of coming from Ireland. And they were one of the only people on board the ship that actually remained on Nantucket. The rest of the passengers continued on when they were healthy to go on to New York City. So our opening is, for members opening, it's the 24th of May, but our official opening is Saturday the 25th, and I hope that you'll join us this season. We've got some interesting new exhibits. We're trying something a little different this year, and I'm not going to give away any secrets because I'd like you to come out and have a look. About 2011, our board of directors, having had the museum restored, and we were looking to move from the Coffin School into a mid-island location. The board of directors said that they wanted to do something that was going to be continuous for education for Nantucket students. And they wanted it to be in the maritime world. And so Jean Grimmer, my predecessor, and the board of directors did extensive community conversations, as well as off-island conversations and interviews with maritime schools, to see what might be appropriate for Nantucket. We are an island. We know that some of the history was unfortunately removed from the school curriculum due to standards and frameworks that were changed. And so we were getting a lot of this information, and we thought, you know what, we've got kids growing up on the island who may not necessarily be connected because of their families to the history, the rich history that we have. And so we felt no one was doing that, and we might be the appropriate group to do it. So in 2012, we started by working on hiring a teacher that could write a curriculum that was appropriate to what we were looking to do. We also had some information through the school that we knew that there was some opportunities for us to help students reinforce their math, their science, their English language arts, and their maths. And what better way to do it, we felt, than through maritime education, because you can incorporate all of those subjects into maritime, and you can connect students who have grown. Our population has become so diverse in the school that we were realizing that we were no longer educating fourth or fifth, sixth generation Nantucketers, but we were educating, and we are educating first generation Nantucketers. So we started out as an elective in the 6th grade, and we did a 10-week program, and of course students had to sign up or they got placed because of their schedule. It was a great place to start, but we really wanted to go the full way, and we wanted to have every student in that particular grade. So after our first year, we were invited to expand into another grade, and so we did 6th and 8th grade. And again, it was a 10-week program. It was experiential learning. And what that means is that we were engaging children in their education while we were doing project-based learning. They were learning by doing, which we felt is an important philosophy, because no matter what your learning style is, we believe every student can be successful if they get their hands on and they can see something and they can actually get to do it. And particularly in the math and science world, we feel that that's very important. And so we've been able to hire educators who have been right in line with our philosophy in what we wanted to do, and we've had some phenomenal teachers. After our second year, our public school at the middle school said, we're looking to add a core class in the 8th grade, and we're thinking it would be along a sort of a science area. Would you be interested in doing that? And that was really what our goal had been all along, to get every single student. So we have now, for the past 5 years, had a core class at Cyrus Pierce Middle School. It's an 8th grade oceanography and maritime studies program. All along, we've been working with our private schools right from the beginning. So we have offered slightly different curriculums, but it's been to really their need and desires, because we felt like going in to partner with the school, we obviously had a goal, but it was important for us to be a good listener and hear from each school what they needed for their students, and we recognized it was going to be different for each school, and it continues to be that way. So we hired Dr. Mandy Bardsley. She came to us from the Boston Public School District, and she has written a wonderful curriculum that is really rich in science and maritime studies, and we interweave some history in there as she goes throughout the school year. One of our favorite activities is build your own boat. I don't know if you've ever seen any pictures either on our website or in the newspaper, but we start the year off with the boat building curriculum, and it's so fun because at the end of it we bring, last year we brought 137 students down to Children's Beach, and we all know, or maybe we don't all know or remember how we were in 8th grade, but 8th graders can be a little awkward and a little gawky and a little uncomfortable with themselves and each other. That all goes away when they are squealing with delight as they are running down the beach with their oars in their hands, with their cardboard boats that they've made. And it's really terrific. And we always take a big sigh of relief when at least one boat gets around the buoy. There are many sunk ships that day. But it's just great. Last year we had one of the reflections on a student. We had Channel 18 film it for us. And I asked a young man how the experience had been. And I had watched him for the 2 days that they get to build. And they only get to use cardboard, a roll of duct tape, and wood glue. And so the young man said to me, well, it was not really easy at first. And I said, well, how come? And he said, well, I didn't get to work with my friends. And I said, okay. So I said, so how did that go? And he said, well, the first day, nobody spoke to each other. And I said, interesting. So I said, how did that work out? And he looked at me, and he said, not very well. I wouldn't imagine you're building something with a team and everyone was just doing their own thing. I said, well, how was it the second day? And he said, much better. We started speaking to one another. So, but I think that's an important lesson for you to learn, right? You can't work on a team project if you don't talk to each other.
I did have pictures in here, but now I can't find. When was it? The last one?
It was October, early October.
Yeah, because it was Yeah, I go there every year, but this year I had a granddaughter that was doing it.
And a cardboard
And I
boat
said-
actually floats?
Oh,
You
yes,
would imagine,
yes.
and
I guess
and it was
A little bit.
it was a cold rainy day.
A few minutes.
Yeah.
Last year
Just
was
enough.
the coldest we've ever had,
It
and
was
Sheila
cold.
Lucy is down there with her lifeguards,
yes.
and poor Frank from Channel 18. I think he was completely blue by the time he finished because he was in the water with the kids. And we'll have actually a short video that will be going up on air shortly on that. But
Can't find it.
so my first year was 2012, and at the kind of around the fall of 2012, Chuck Colley, who was a woodshop teacher at the high school, called me and said, "I've got a guy I want you to meet. Can he come over to my school classroom?" So I did, and the gentleman that I met that day was Don Peacock. Don Peacock is the executive director and captain of the Lynx Tallship. And if any of you have ever met Don, you will probably agree with me that he just exudes passion. He can't hold himself back. He is just so passionate about the ship. But really what struck me most was about his development of young people and his desire to help young people. And so I watched a short video, and that began that day our growing relationship that I'm very happy to say that we still have today, and Lynx is very much part of our operations. She just came in yesterday. He texted me as they arrived, and it was like 4:30 a.m. He didn't text me at 4:30 a.m., I'm happy to say. But he texted me in the morning to say that they had landed. And it's really rewarding for us at Egan Maritime each time someone says to us, "It's great to have a tour ship in the harbour," or "It's great to have our kids on the tour ship," or "It's great to have adults get out on the tour ship." So again, she just marries the philosophy of our experiential learning. You can't get any more experiential than being on a tour ship. We offer every year a week to students to sail as crew. They are not guests. They literally sail as crew members. We've had 59 students over the course since we started, and we began those in 2013. We've had 59 students. 12 of those students have graduated high school now because we offer it in 8th grade and high school. And out of the 12 who've graduated, 6 of those students have gone on to maritime education. And all of them have said that their experience on the Lynx was what was prompted them to go on it and go and further their careers, which is wonderful. We have some students at Northeast Maritime, which is the only privately owned maritime school. It's in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. And then other students are at Mass Maritime. Fritha, you'll also see, she's a brigantine. She'll be in the harbour this year. She'll be taking high school students out as well. So we're very proud. And do you mind if I just read you a little bit of a reflection of a student? We ask every student who's on the ship to reflect. And we have many of them, but this one is one that I think kind of captures what we're always looking for. In a lifetime of learning, there is no possibility I will ever be graced with the ability to secure any words that might describe what the Lynx journey meant to me. Although the Lynx journey was officially 7 days long, in reality, it will never be over. Sailing aboard Lynx was unlike an environment I have previously encountered. It was, in one word, paradise. Lynx meant and still means to me a place where family is made and will always remain. A place where the deepest, most permanent friendships and bonds are forged. A place where incredible, valuable skills, physical, mental, social, skills that will undoubtedly be used throughout every aspect of life, are cultivated and rooted more deeply than skills learned through anxiety and stresses. Lynx means a place of safety and trust, of encouraged curiosity and lust for learning. Lynx means home. It's not easy for me to accredit these gains to any other time or place of my life. I have always struggled with the feelings of inadequacy and a lack of self-esteem. I cried at the conclusion of the 7-day journey, not only out of the sadness that it was over, but also the joy of realizing what she, the ship, had brought me and how I had grown. The ship and the people devoted to her were the first things to ever make me feel like I am important, that the world needs me in it, and that I have a place. I've never had a sensation of belonging. It was new, and boy, it was blissful. Every person alive deserves to feel that, and I am blessed to have been given the opportunity to find that place, my place. Lynx will always live in my heart and will always be very important and special to me. Whether I continue on this path or follow new paths, the choices and decisions I make will be affected by my time on Lynx. In fact, I'm writing this on a flight from Virginia to back home, returning from having just jumped back aboard Lynx with only 3 hours' notice to sail on her transit to Virginia. For this newly discovered passion, even this newly discovered person, I owe everything to those who made the Lynx journey a reality.
Wow.
And that was written by a 17-year-old.
Wow.
Where is she now?
Mass Maritime.
Wow. What a
That
hot
particular
ticket.
student got on board in October of 2012, which was the first time Don brought Lynx, not the first time she'd ever been to Nantucket, but first time for our relationship and partnership. And he said, I just want to show you, I'm not just trying to be here for the summer, I'm here for the year-round population of the community, I want to work with you. And so we took 80 kids out on 2 different sails, but of course it was October, and it was new to me, and so I didn't really mention to everybody, make sure you got warm hats and gloves, and so we had a lot of kids on board like this. But this particular young person came up to me and said, Pauline, I was born for this. And I took a look at it and I said, you know what? I think you probably were. And I think she's showing us that.
So cool. Do you mind, I'm sorry to interrupt. So would you mind explaining how it works with those, you say once a year, how many kids are offered that?
So when Lynx is here, she's here now and she'll be here for the summer. So
Right.
we get students on Lynx starting next week.
Mm-hmm.
We probably get in each school year around 500 to 600 students that get to do a day sail on Lynx.
Okay, gotcha.
So we work with all of the schools. But then this experience that this student had is a 1-week sail.
Okay.
We've changed it over the years now, so the high school students go on Fritha, which is a brigantine that's owned by Northeast Maritime. And the Lynx does 2 3-day sails for 8th graders.
Wow.
And we choose those students because we have the 8th grade classroom, so it's much easier for us to talk about it and answer questions and get kids.
Where do they go?
They usually go for the 3-day sail around Martha's Vineyard
Mm-hmm.
and around the islands, and then they do 2 overnights. And depending on the weather, depends on how far they can get up. But they're really looking for the experience of getting them out and working as a team and running the ship.
And they're on the crew.
The 1 week gets up to, we've gone to Fairhaven, we've gone to Mystic Seaport. Again, it depends on the weather, but we try to get them obviously further. And now that the Fritha is involved, they get a chance to go through the school and see the school and their big simulator that they have. And David.
You had 2 of our kids a couple years ago, Cassandra and Brianna. They sailed for a week.
Yes,
They loved
yes.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that was when you sailed the Mystic.
Yes, and it's interesting. What I love is that we've had, and we continue to have, a wide spectrum of students. So we've had students who've never been on the water and had very little experience, to kids who've been on sailing teams. We've got kids who've gone on to Mass Maritime. We've had kids who've gone on to Brown and gone on to Harvard. So we've got kids and we've got kids who've stayed and remained and continued on working after graduation. So we really are looking for everybody, because we're not looking for you to be a sailor or to want to be a mariner necessarily. We're just looking for you to want to have this experience, this challenge, because it's kind of like an outward bound experience.
It's like a Bill of Rights. I don't know if Bill of Rights still exists, but it's like what Chuck E. did.
Shenandoah and the Bill of Rights.
Yeah,
You know, they were out of Vineyard Haven.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know if they
yeah.
still are.
Yeah.
What I like about this opportunity for students is we can only take 4 at a time, and that is a really nice, I feel, and I sort of continue with this, it's a nice ratio, because this gives the students really time to work one-on-one with the crew. I think some of the other opportunities, we do this on the day sale, we can put 40 kids on, which is wonderful because it gives you another experience. But I like, and I think we like that sort of feeling of being able to really have a 2-to-1 ratio because there's 8 crew on Lynx.
Can visitors board the Lynx and go for a day sale?
Yes, so on the Egan Maritime website, there will be information on the Lynx. You can also go to the Lynx website, and she will be doing day sales this summer. We will be doing a few sales with Lynx. We have some Nan puppets coming out and sailing. We also have some sea shanties. We have Bill Shoestick coming this summer, and he will be singing on the Lynx. And Don Peacock will be telling the history of the War of 1812. So please look at our website, theeganmaritime.org. Our calendar is up, and you can see all of what we're doing during the summer. And then the Lynx will be doing day sales, probably 5 days a week, I would imagine, twice a day.
Yeah, it's a great, I did it as a tourist, and I've sent people out. It's fabulous. Absolutely amazing. It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
So I asked you at your talk at the NHA about the TV show. Have you found out when they're going to air that one?
The cardboard boat.
The one where, the one David and I went out on. Was it
Oh,
WGBH?
yes. You know what? It's funny. You did ask me that, and coincidentally, I received an email like a week later.
Aren't you glad I asked?
Yes.
Made it happen.
It was the gods. It was like boom, and she was looking for some aerial footage of Lynx to finish it up, and so I said, "Oh, we were just talking about you," but she still didn't give me an answer of when they were going to put that. That's Richard Weiss, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something with Yankee.
Yeah.
Conversations
It was
with
Yankee Magazine, I think.
A weekend with Yankee.
Weekend with
Yeah.
Yankee, yeah.
Yeah.
So Richard Weiss. So that should be coming out soon,
Okay.
and that was all shot on board Lynx. But we're very proud to have the partnership, and we're very proud of what we're doing with for our students here and also for the community. So I got our, let's see, I've got our lovely magnets that you can all please take one if you would. And then, I'll hand this around this way. It's got some information on our this year's exhibit, which is on the wavering human spirit. As I said, it's on the British Queen.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And gives you all the information. And inside, it gives you an idea of what some of the programs are that we will be doing this summer.
And you're having a van come to 25 Federal.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
You
was
are
just
good,
about to ask
Janet.
about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have. I just picked up the van.
Softball.
Yes. Funny you should say that. Yes, we have a van that we will be driving people out from visitor services all summer, 6 days a week. It will be
Oh, to the Shipwreck Museum?
to the Shipwreck
Okay.
Lifesaving Museum. And even though, we're not that far out of town, it is difficult certainly
Yeah.
for people who are on foot traffic that they don't come out to us. So we want to make it easy. It's a free shuttle, and we will be running it Monday through Saturday. And I just secured the hours, which will be beginning at 10:30 in the morning, and our last pickup at the museum will be 4 p.m. But our last pickup in town will be 1:30.
How often does the van run during the summer?
It'll be every day except for Sunday, and it begins at 10:30 in the morning on the hour until
On the hour.
1:30. Yes, on the hour.
So it's
So
pretty
it's 11.
user-friendly.
Yes, yes.
What's the 7 to 11?
It will start Memorial Day weekend,
So they'll leave the 25 Federal at 11 a.m.
1:45.
42.
Okay.
Right, David? Yes.
I thought it was on the bottom of the hour.
Oh, half hour.
Yeah,
Get there at 10:30. Yep.
but you
Okay.
leave at quarter of.
Yes, we'll leave at 1:15.
Okay.
People should be boarding at the half hour.
At 10.
10:30,
Yes.
11:30,
Yes.
12:30, 1:30.
Yes.
Okay. And then returning on the back end, would it be?
Back in whenever they want to come back. As we go out,
Okay,
we'll be offering people a ride, and the last ride back will be 4:00.
okay.
And the museum closes at 5.
The one day I went to the museum, there was a lovely young lady who escorted me through the museum and did a voiceover on everything, and it was just wonderful. Are people always there to do that?
Yes. We have a wonderful group of docents or
Yeah.
interpreters at the museum.
Okay, so they're always there.
They are, and
They-
they're free tours.
And they bring the museum to life in a way that you can't experience it if you're just walking through.
Thank you. Yeah, I
It
think
was
they do
really-
too. I think that it's wonderful to have someone interpret the stories for you,
It was-
and it's
she was
certainly
fabulous.
the opportunity to read on your own. But I think it's a
Okay.
nice opportunity, and so they're free tours, and they happen all throughout the day.
I have a couple of questions, just trying to get a sense of, from a business perspective. You really draw people from two separate populations, the people who come to Nantucket and somehow find out there's a van that'll take them out there to this great thing. And then you got a lot of foot traffic and bike traffic going by. And I'm wondering, do you pick up a lot of people on the bike path who drive by and say, why don't we stop in there and see what's going on? I mean, is there any way of judging this? Like, I'm just curious, what's the mix?
We've done several surveys over the years, and we actually find that the largest group of people are coming by word of mouth. We do get bike traffic, we get a lot of bike tours, but that didn't seem to be the largest number of people just riding on the Pulpus
spontaneous,
Road and
yeah, I
seeing
get
us.
you, I get
It's not easy to find us off of,
Right.
even though we're just off of, because
Yeah.
we were kind of on the
You
old
could drive by
Pulpus
and
Road.
not realize
You could
what
drive
you-
by
right.
and not see us, and
Right.
so we've struggled with signage, to be
Yeah.
honest, and we're working on it. But we
Right.
have two big rocks now that one has museum written on it,
Yeah.
and one has our address and museum. And we've just recently, had a shipwreck on the old Pulpus Road. So that hopefully will make you realize that it's actually a shipwreck and life-saving museum.
I was just thinking, one point of contact would be the bike rental places, which, you rent a bike and they say, if you're going out the Pulpus Road, be sure not to miss this.
That's a great
Here's a little
idea.
brochure
Yes, I
about
think we
that.
could do.
Which leads me to
better
my next
education.
question. Are you, during the, at least judging from the last summer, are you, during the summer, kind of saturated, throw up your hands and say, please don't deliver any more tourists, or are you looking to build?
We are looking to, absolutely, we're looking. I mean, July and August,
Yeah.
certainly are strong days. We also do free family days 3 times in the year, supported by the Battle family. So we get up to 400 people in the museum that day,
Yeah.
but that's not on a regular basis. So we are absolutely looking to increase our visitors.
The other question I had was, this is kind of off the tourism idea, but I'm really kind of intrigued by the program you have in place for the 8th graders. And what's really interesting about it from a scientific standpoint is you've got a natural experiment underway, and you've got a large enough sample that I'm just wondering, do you keep any records of those who go through the program and, kind of who they were relative to those who weren't selected, and then what the outcomes were later on? Because it'd really be interesting to see what the consequences are for subsequent academic performance. Just in terms of, here's a person who was average, they went on the cruise ship, and the next 2 years, suddenly they blossomed, and the ones who weren't there didn't blossom 50% of the time. I mean, I can see how that might actually really fit into a kind of activating a mathematical instinct that a kid didn't have before, and then they see how arithmetic and math and navigation applies, and they suddenly say, I get it, I understand calculus, I understand everything, and I'm really intrigued. And then when you get that kind of a letter, that obviously has a profound kind of life-altering experience on some people.
Yeah.
And do you have any information about, I should say, do you have any instinct that this program is kind of selecting the best and brightest, or is it pretty much a cross-section of kids?
I think it's attracting a cross-section of kids.
That's
I think
good.
so
So it's not self-selecting.
No, and it's really, when we offer it to students, but if you only know what you know, so if you can't imagine yourself on a ship, you're not likely necessarily to raise your
Yeah.
hand or fill the application, or you can get the application to mom or dad.
Yeah,
So we reach out to parents, we also reach out to guidance, and we
Yeah.
also reach out to teachers, and we say, is there anybody that you think would really benefit from this, and can you help encourage them to make the application? So, no, I mean, I think that the unique thing about the program is, as I said, we've got children who have graduated and continued to stay on Nantucket and went into the workforce directly.
Right.
And we've got students who've gone on to maritime schools, and then we've got students who've gone on to other schools.
Yeah.
So it's
You get
really
people going on to Harvard.
right. So
It's a nice broad cross-section.
and you'll see a nice article in N Magazine this summer about two young men who graduated and went on to Northeast Maritime and their journey. And I think that they tell an interesting story, and also a friendship that came out of that experience on board Lynx would probably never have happened without the experience of being partnered with this student on the Lynx. So we do surveys, we do reflections, we follow up with students. We're still kind of really in our infancy stage, because we've only got, as I said, 12 students who have actually graduated high school who've even been on this week.
Yeah.
So, but it is information that we talk about, because we obviously want to look at it for funding purposes. And we also want to see, are we having an impact not only for the Lynx sale, but in our oceanography class?
Right.
We've been able to provide an experiential learning opportunity in the public school. How is that helping students who might struggle because they're not able as easily to retain information and then be able to test well? But by doing it might be a better way of remembering how to do something.
I assume you've got a pretty good working relationship with the school. I mean, whoever is involved, they have some interest in what benefits are accruing to the students who go through this.
Yes, I'd say we have an excellent relationship. Right from day one, when we knew we wanted to hire a teacher, we involved Scott Meadows, who was at the CPS. He was the CPS principal. Michael Kozort was on board, Emily Miller from the Lighthouse School, and then Matt Little from the new school. They have continued to stay with me and the team, and they are always part of the hiring when we hire our teachers, because it is a collective program, and in order to really make it a partnership, they have to be in on every level.
Well, I'll talk to you later about some ideas.
Got a good teacher too, teaching oceanography this year.
Yes, Mandy Bardsley is fabulous.
Oh, okay.
But
Mandy
yes,
Bardsley?
Mandy Bardsley, yes. Jason Maletzko is in 8th grade. He's the science teacher and also a strong maritime person.
Can I ask a more mundane question?
Sure.
Does anyone know how long it takes someone to bike to the museum from downtown?
Not that long, I would say
20 minutes, a half hour?
25 minutes maybe?
20
Half hour?
yeah.
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 I used to live on Fulling Mill, or my grandparents lived on Fulling Mill, and I could do that when I was like 10, like I was
About
young
half hour. I
enough
could
where
send
it
a
wasn't-
family out there in 30 minutes to do
Totally,
that.
I
yes.
would say, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very safe. Actually, that was an interesting question you asked, because many times I see people on bikes stopping and looking at that and
I'm
crossing
wondering what
over
it
and
is.
just looking outside, because I brought, groups out there
Yeah.
and sat there and.
It's a beautiful building.
I like the
Many,
new
many times I've had to
funny
stop with people.
sunken ship.
I know.
Yes, I
That's
did.
cute.
Yeah.
Did it even occur to me that it was a
I'm
shipwreck?
testing the waters there. It's not a sign.
We noticed.
Yeah.
We are going to be putting shipwreck on one side and life-saving on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
She just
Yeah.
wrecked. I don't know how it happened.
I mean, I drive by the thing every day. I have to go down the Pulpus Road, and I've been there a couple of times, but it was sort of accidental.
Right.
And I think the key thing is to make it a destination. Say, the Pulpus Bike Road is really a neat road to go on, and don't miss this stop
Yeah.
on the way. Maybe you can fill up your water bottle too,
We will be having a water bottle filling
already
station.
thought- yeah,
that's a good idea.
Folgers Marsh is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Long before I started working for Egan Maritime, that was one of my favorite spots. And so we have picnic tables out there, and lots of people do come out and have lunch out there, or to watch the sunset. They'll come out and have some refreshments and sit at the table. So we'd love them to come into the museum as well while they're out there.
Yeah.
This is a really silly question, because there's obviously nothing that can be done about it. But have stinky water days affected visitors to
No,
the museum?
we
That's
No, we
Yeah.
don't get that.
Yeah, that's great.
What's Stinky water tank?
Well, because sometimes the marsh can be
Exactly.
really,
You'll know
really
it if it
Yes.
happens.
stinky. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be explained.
Yes.
Because I've
Drive-
definitely driven
drive
by on
by with
nights
the
when
window
there are
open.
like
Yes.
weddings happening and it's
Yes.
not, oh, those poor,
Yes.
you know.
And that's the other thing, it's a beautiful location for weddings
I
and,
was gonna ask about rentals.
receptions. And
Yeah.
so we have an agreement with the neighborhood, the Fulling Mill neighborhood, that we only do so many events during the season to be respectful of the neighborhood. But we don't even come close to those number of events. So we do advertise. It's a smaller location, it's not as well known as
Such
other
a beautiful
places, but
spot
it
to
is
have.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just stunning. And so we are open for rentals out there as well.
Do you have any evening hours?
We don't. We close at 5. We tried a couple of years ago to do evening hours where we stayed open till 7 or 8 at night, and we only did it for 1 year.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get a lot of traffic at all because most everybody's tended to be in town.
Yeah.
You know, I keep coming back to the same idea about thousands of people coming over on the fast ferry every day. And I'm just wondering, you know, are they gonna encounter something like this in a you know, a stand on the boat where they can say, oh yeah, let's go take a look at that, that looks interesting. And then it says you can catch the shuttle bus at this every hour and a half hour, whatever it is, and go out there not to miss. I mean, are you penetrating the market that way, like with any brochure?
We do. We do that not only at the airport but at on both of the boats, and we have
Oh,
advertising
you
on the
do,
boat.
okay, good.
But Highline, and you may know this already, is bringing on a concierge on
They
the
were on the
boat.
boat yesterday.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so their new magazine, they did an article on us, and so we're in the back part of that magazine with the ad for the museum, and then Betsy
Yeah.
said that they will also talk us up. I tried last year with our van, the shipwreck shuttle, we call it, which we thought was kind of catchy. We did try to go down and meet some of the boats, and I did try to meet some of the people coming off of the cruise ship because they come down to the town pier.
Oh, right.
But that seems to be already signed, sealed, delivered, and everybody knows where they're going before they came off. And I tried really hard last year, but I could not get anyone to call me back to get in on that piece, because I
Yeah.
think that would be great to be at the town dock as they come off and say, you know, before you go into town, let us whisk you out here, and then we'll bring you back into town,
Yeah.
and you can have a great experience at the museum. But
Maybe with the new building down there and the changes happening.
maybe, yes.
Well, you kind of have to, gets into the market segmentation, you know, you got to focus on the people who say, great plan, we're going to go to Nantucket, but we haven't figured out what we're going to do.
Right.
We're sitting here on the boat for an hour, we better figure out what we're going to do when we get off the boat.
Yeah.
Where do we want, we're going to check in, and then where are we going to go? And other people will have already got things lined up. So I guess it seems to me the boat is the obvious place to hit them and
Yeah.
just say, put this on your to-do list.
Yeah.
And when do you close in the season?
Columbus Day. So we
Columbus,
open
Columbus,
Memorial
yeah.
Day to Columbus Day.
And you're gonna have one of the Melville stands out there, right? The movie
Yes,
that pop up.
indeed.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you picked your reading?
No, I saw a few people had their choices, but we'll go with, I'll trust you all.
Oh, no, you get to pick.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Oh. What if I pick somebody else's? You have to duke it out with James Russell? No.
I would think you'd
I
want
love
something
that
that
piece.
involves
That's a
the boat
great
being
idea.
destroyed.
That's a great fundraiser.
That could be a great
I think you'd
fundraiser.
want something that involved the boat being destroyed.
That's true, yeah, that's true.
Do you do any kind of annual fundraising?
We actually, we've done a little bit. Before Egan Maritime started the Sea of Opportunities education program, because we're a private operating foundation, the investment that Bud and Dorothy left upon their estate, Dorothy Egan's estate went into, you probably will know, into the healthcare, the Dorothy H. Egan Foundation, and that group helps support the medical needs on the island. And then Bud, with his love for maritime, started the Egan Foundation. So the early days, we were really set to be able to provide the programming that Bud had visualized and the board of directors had visualized, and be able to support ourselves along with the membership and income from the different programs that we did. But with Sea of Opportunities, the trustees realized that we were going to need to go into a development stage. And so we hired Michelle Severino, who had been with us before, and then she came back, she returned to us, and so she's our development director. We do one event. We are at the Great Harbor Yacht Club this year, and I'm happy to say we're honoring Sheila Lucy. And Sheila Lucy was the first surf woman ever. And she will be recognized really for her work that she has done, not only in her career, but the work she's done for kids here. She has done a tremendous job linking students to all kinds of maritime careers way before we even came along. And so we're going to highlight some of those students and hear from them as to what effect Sheila's had on them. And then we're also, it's our 30th anniversary of Egan Maritime this year, and so we're going to be honoring our founders. So it's not really your traditional, say, like fundraiser where we have an auction and a silent auction, and we
Right.
we're really looking for sponsorship for tables and people who are connected to the maritime.
Yep.
Well, then we'll support Sheila.
Gotcha.
Wow, it's 30 years. I remember when Bob Caldwell was bringing all of, do you remember, Mary?
Sure.
He had all of these,
Absolutely.
and it
I
was just
remember.
like it was almost like a
remember.
take it or leave it
You
kind
remember
of.
Bob?
And I can't believe it's 30 years. I remember him having all the, and then the building, and then when Neil Parent, I just can't believe it's 30 years.
Well, it's 30 years of Egan Maritime being founded,
Well, that
and it
would've
was
been-
50 years of the
At the
museum
museum.
last year. So,
Wow.
do you remember Gordon Kinney?
I can
Remember?
barely remember it.
So we're
Wink,
doing
wink.
actually a special tribute to Gordon Kinney this year. If you could join us at the,
I do remember.
and I
Yeah.
bring in.
Gordon Kinney? Well, they
Gordon
were on,
Kinney.
yeah. I think they were
Plus-
down on,
I remember when
Colbert
Bob
Ave.
Mooney wrote the article in Historic Nantucket
Mhm.
about the British Queen,
Mhm.
because it was
Yeah.
his parents.
That's right. Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that Bob Mooney's parents were on that shipwreck, and that's how they got here.
That's right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There was a cute couple that, when I was little, there was a couple who ran the museum, or who
Maurice Gibbs.
sat it, or something, that it was an older couple that were
Maybe it was
so
Maurice
sweet,
and
and back then nobody went to that museum. It was like, and they were always kind of there, and I'd ride my bike down and hang out with them, and then they'd
Huh.
like walk me through the
Mhm.
museum and stuff, but they were really very sweet people. I wonder who
Could've
they
been
were.
Maurice.
Could have been Maurice.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
Maurice
was the
Gibbs.
director out at the museum for many years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's still very involved with us.
Oh,
He's
really?
on
Oh,
our-
nice.
On our committee, our advisory committee for the museum.
It looks, I will say, it looks amazing. My daughter, it's
Thank
like
you.
her favorite thing to do is go through that with the
Oh,
little
that's
ship
great.
that they can play in,
Yeah.
and the whole bit, and those waiter swings are awesome.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Breeches Buoy.
Yeah, those are very
the
cool.
Breeches Buoy. Yeah.
It's a great spot for kids. It's a really good family thing to do.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Pauline.
So yeah, well, thank you so much
you.
for
Great.
the opportunity.
You're welcome to stay or move along.
I'll move along if that's all right.
Okay.
Okay. And if we've
Thank
got
you
the,
so much.
you're welcome. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for having me.
Give me a call sometime.
Okay, I will. I will. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. Okay, on to recusing and abstaining at meetings reminder, it's in your packet. Do you want to talk about this, Janet? or-
Just briefly,
okay.
I don't think we take that many votes,
No.
but you all have to abide as the staff does with the ethics policies that the state puts out. And so this came out from town administration, and they asked to share it with all the advisory committees, and so I'm just giving it to you as an FYI and CYA. So take that chance to read it when you have a moment.
And was that email real? I just want to, but there was like that email from the town with
Oh, yeah.
the
Yes.
signature part, and okay. And when do we do that by?
I don't know, it was in that email.
It
I
was.
think it was June 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my
It's
memory
very
serves me.
simple, you just take it online and then you just. submit
Okay.
it at the
And you can't
ethics.
fail it, they don't let you move on to the next one. Yeah. Should I go into my report?
Did I not get an email?
It's like you have to. It's the
I can forward it to you.
conflict of interest stuff.
Oh, I might have done that.
Sam, they have it
It
right
gives
here.
you like 4 or 5 chances.
They always have
to
a
get one
workshop
answer, so.
for new committee members.
Send it to me.
Right.
Yeah, for some reason, that didn't,
I don't think I
last
got it.
year, and it hasn't been,
I went a couple of years ago to
I'll
something.
tell you.
well, that was something too, we
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
go to those, that was every year, and that hasn't, let's see if
I feel like this is in lieu of, right? The
I,
email
well, this is
version?
something we've had to take online, it's not the ethics and, there's another thing,
What are you looking up?
I was looking up the thing. I had
That
to
email
do.
that came through.
But go ahead, I'm not finding it.
Shall I go ahead with my report?
Yes, sorry.
Sure. The activities, I left last Wednesday afternoon, and when I got back yesterday morning, I couldn't believe how much activity had increased in a week's time. Yeah, but I guess that's due to the wine festival, all that stuff that's happening. And in the office, we've got a lot of things going on. The water bottles are in the design stage that we'll be handing out water bottles with Remain on the 4th of July in anticipation of the single-use plastic ban coming forward in the future. That has a URL on it for where to find water stations downtown for filling up. And so we can add to that as water stations are added, and we're eventually going to get it island-wide, that list of water stations. So we'll add the Egan Maritime one as well, because there is no water station on the bike path on the Pulvis Road. So we anticipate those will be here in a timely fashion to be able to distribute them at the 4th of July. There will be a new piece of artwork installed at Sparks Avenue in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a Hostetler piece. And I've written a press release. As soon as I have the date from the sculptors, I will be putting that in the paper, and I can let you all know when it's going to happen as well. The Nantucket Book Festival starts June 13th through the 16th. I was in Texas last week to meet with one of the authors. I'm an author advocate for one of them, setting up an interview and a reception that we're going to be having. So that was very productive and fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then I'm also captain of volunteers at the Athenaeum on Friday for the couple of speakers that are happening in the afternoon. The Chamber of Commerce is putting together something, well, Karen knows about this, Karen's running this, Experience Nantucket. David's going to be speaking, representing visitor services at that event. It's designed for concierges and anybody who interacts with the visiting public. So it's got some customer service stuff in it, as
When
well
is
as
that?
information. June 10th.
June 10th. It's actually there's 2 sessions. The first hour is very much about customer service, so how to deal with, difficult people, whether it's retail or hotel. And then the second part of it is going to be a series of speakers that will touch on different things generally, so that if a new staff member is here, they at least know where to go for different information. We're not going to try and just overload them with like every bit of fact there is, but Holly Finnegan is speaking, Alicia from the Dreamland, David is speaking, so it'll just be some snippets of things to give people just a good feel for what the island's like and get them psyched to be here.
Awesome, so that's June
What
10th
time?
and
Yeah, so it's I'm gonna say it's 8:30 or 9 in the morning till about 11, so it's meant to be about 3 hours. There's a small fee, but it's all on the chamber website. That's probably
Mentioned Melville 200. We're about to get the calendar of events done and get ready for printing and distribution. And Spring Art Week was April 26th to May 5th. I haven't had a chance to talk to Barbara Elder yet about how it went. There were a lot of activities going on, and so I'm eager to hear from her. And I am off to a conference in Vermont called the Creative Communities Exchange in early June. It's a conference that focuses on using culture as an economic driver and a community builder. So I'm going to be focusing on shoulder season and winter kind of stuff to see what I can pull away from that. It's sponsored by the New England Foundation for the Arts. And I'm going to let David talk about Children's Beach and 4th of July, but the Chamber's also doing a short-term rental seminar on May 23rd, and we're both going to go because I think it's going to raise some questions. We're already getting questions from the Lodging Association about how we're going to represent Airbnb. And I thought we ought to know what the rules were before we had a conversation with leadership in the Lodging Association about how to move forward with that. And then just one thing I want to point out, and I think I want to bring in Noah Carberg next month, but there are several jets that are arriving at ACK between 7 and 10 in the morning, starting in mid-June. And so they're putting hundreds of people coming out of the terminal, and there's a problem with the number of cabs and Ubers are available, and the NERDA doesn't run until 10 a.m. So I'm going to start taking this on as my thing
Yeah.
to see if we can't get some bus service when we actually need bus service. And though I know it's never been done before and it's impossible and all that, and I'll get every reaction against it, I'm gonna see what I can do. It won't happen this summer, but maybe by next summer we can have bus service on Old South Road at a time when people are actually
Actually
needing
need it.
bus service
Yeah,
on Old South Road.
That's a novel idea.
Yep, so that concludes my report for what we're up to. We drove around in an electric car 2 weeks ago. Because we got funding for it, we were driving around a little Nissan Leaf, and as soon as the budget becomes available for FY20, we're gonna put it in order, and we're gonna have a car with a decal on it that says Culture and Tourism, and David can use it to deliver things around. We can take it to the beaches and give away information out of the back and to events and stuff, so,
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so it's gonna be fun. Any questions for me?
David?
Okay, Daffodil Weekend was last couple weeks ago, and I wanted to share with you how many people came through the office the 4 days that we were there. We were open all weekend. We had 52 on Thursday, 97 on Friday, 243 on Saturday, and 23 on Sunday, although we were only open from 9 to 1. Now, comparing that to last year, which the total for this year was 415 for those 4 days. So last year, we had 420, so we're not too far off. And I believe we were open all day Sunday last year, so that, pretty much, is even with that. And then the year before, in 2017, we had 456 people through. So that was a pretty strong weekend, particularly with Saturday being open. Saturday being a beautiful day, and a lot going on downtown as well. You have the April stats. We had 972 people through the office. That is up over 884 last year. The one thing I wanted to point out with the electronic downloads from the website, we had 509 downloads of the travel lodging brochure. Our restaurant list is very popular at 3,179. And we put up those itineraries that are on the website, and the ones that are listed here are the ones that have been downloaded. The rest have not been discovered yet. But so far, people have been interested in a day in Nantucket and 3 days in Nantucket, as well as summer camps and classes. And total, first page views of the front page were 1,180. So, anybody have any questions about those?
What's the distinction between a day on Nantucket number 1, number 2, number
I
3?
was gonna ask about
It's
that too.
different activities.
Okay, I get you.
So just,
So add 'em all up,
they
and that's- yeah.
go one direction, depending on what do you want to do. We could send them to Wisconsin, we could keep them in town, we can
Yeah.
send them, any which way, depending on, so it's.
They
might
based
be-
it,
Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, they base more on interest, so like one of these itineraries is for someone that wants to bike and see
Right.
nature and,
Do
Stuff
we
like
want
that.
to change the name, so
Yeah, I
I
was
took
gonna
it
say-
one that says,
So it
for
says,
biking,
yeah.
for a Wisconsin, East Coast view, a West Coast view, a beach view.
yeah, just something so
Yeah,
that
that
it's,
might help if I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
modify
sort of,
those.
right.
Okay.
yeah, that would be great.
One thing is that our offices, starting next week, will be open 7 days a week, including Sundays. The staff is coming back. We have 2 new staff that we plan to hire. The Cisco shuttle bus is now running daily from about noon to 6:30. That's one of our most popular questions, which I will probably include in our next round here. One thing is that I'm going to be on WACK. They're going to interview me about what's going on in the office. So that's happening today, so you probably hear it later in the week. 4th of July, we're gonna start ramping that up. I'm having a planning meeting with town officials in early June, and also with the activity captains, shortly thereafter. And that's all I have, so.
Just stupid question,
Sure.
is there like a sign outside during season that just says Cisco shuttle running blank to blank to blank?
And then walk right by it and come in and say, where's the Cisco shuttle?
That's what I figured, okay, just thought I'd ask, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't read.
it's in
Yep.
the window, and, in the past, there was a red firebox in the corner
Yeah,
in front of 23 that was our landmark to tell people. And that was removed last year, so in the stump of what was the firebox, I put the sign there on that, as well as on the signpost next to it. So that's gonna be put back on there, but there is a sign in the window in the office.
I assumed as much, but I thought I'd
Yeah.
just ask.
David, I have a question about the Day on Nantucket
Yeah.
selection. Is this year the first time we have those?
Yep.
And I assume this is your creative work to put it all
Well,
together?
Janet and I have been collaborating on
Okay.
this, so, Janet's been helpful in
Yeah.
getting this going, so it just,
It's part of our effort to make the website our electronic information aid.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting here is, I think it's reasonable to infer that you've gone 1, 2, and 3, and if you added a 4th and a 5th, the numbers would keep increasing.
Right. Well, we have-
And eventually you'll run out of people that say, well, 20 is enough.
Yeah, well, I did want to make sure I'm not overwhelming
Yeah.
them, but we do have like 5 one-day on Nantuckets, 2 or 3 two-day options, and then like
Right.
1 3-day option and 1 4-day weekend option.
And I assume
Well,
you're getting a reasonable number of hits for all of the ones, even the ones you haven't tabulated here, the 4 and 5?
The ones that are not listed here have not been discovered yet
By anybody?
by anybody,
Oh, really? Okay.
so.
It seems like they just.
And my other question is,
It's rather new, so.
right, but at least you've got an indication that number 1, followed by number 3, followed by number 2 are the first, second, and third most popular. And my next question is, do we have those on display at the airport, so when people get off the plane and they say, I wonder what we should do?
Not yet, but I can put that there. We do have a
Yeah.
printout of those in a folder at the
Right.
main office, but I can put those there as
Because
well.
what I used to do when I took people off the plane, I'm now
Mhm.
retired, I would say, as they came in, they say, we're here for the day,
Yeah.
then they're gonna take us over to the vineyard. I say, go over here and pick up every brochure that you wanna see. And take a look at it, decide what you want, because a lot of people, they just say, we're here for a finite period of time, and they're looking for guidance.
Right.
And I think the airport would be a great place to just pick it up.
Sure.
We should probably tweet them or Facebook that we have them on our website too.
Yeah.
I think
Plus, it could be
labeling
the
will
same
make a big-
person looking at all 3.
True, but they're gonna make a choice. It's self-service.
But I
think
think
a lot, at least
labeling will
140.
Yeah.
really help, because people are probably just
Yeah.
going to number 1 and just
Right.
downloading that, because it's the first one.
It's gonna be a lot
Do
busier.
you have, I'm embarrassed that I haven't seen these lists, that I haven't gone on and looked at them, but do you have one that's for adults? Could we have so many
Empty nesters.
empty nesters,
Well, that's what we
ladies'
talked about,
weekend,
like,
kind
Yeah,
of?
I mean,
Needs-based
if you look
days,
at
yes,
those,
As
it
opposed to
covers
just
everything.
generic.
And there are a couple for kids, a day with kids. The summer camps are a big question, and whatever class activities.
Yeah,
So it covers pretty much everything, and even and we even have one that's not listed here of scavenger hunts around the both
Oh,
adult
nice.
and kids.
we just have so many boozy broads this year already.
No,
It's Wine Fest.
Yeah, yeah.
Fagawi with a stem.
That would make a really
We have
funny-
free
that would be a
Fagawi.
funny t-shirt,
That's
actually.
daffodil. Then we have Fagawi with a stem, and then we have Fagawi.
Have you
Stem and
received any
stilettos.
inquiries at all from, from any of our Civic League neighborhood associations about the map that you did for Sconset? Because we distributed the map to our 25 presidents and said, if you'd like a map like this, you know, you could have a map for your neighborhood.
Not yet. But,
Not yet,
you know,
okay.
At the same time, I have the map at Greenhound and the airport, so they are there for people to take.
In the hotel, I give them out all the time.
So do we.
Yeah, we
that's
took them to
great.
the lodging association last month.
Mhm.
And they're also
Everybody there.
available to print offline.
Hmm.
Actually, I was picking up people that I was waiting for that was at the bus stop, waiting for the taxi. And 2 or 3 groups of bicyclists picked up the maps that you had hanging on the, did you know you had some maps hanging there?
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody put them
Where
there?
was this?
At the, where the board is, at the bus stop in Sconset?
Somebody's put them on there, I haven't put them there,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's where they're intended to go.
Mhm.
So it's good that they're there already, I just haven't gotten out there.
Mhm. So we can- Any other questions, any other comments?
Chronicle did a show on Daffodil. It was actually the Monday, I think, after Daffodil Weekend, sort of a recap.
Oh,
The Looms
nice.
was on it, Graydon House was on it, and the African Meeting House.
They did a really good job too.
Huh?
Thought it was a really good, they
Yeah,
did
it
a
was
really
cute.
good job.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just a nice little mix and, you know, short, the little field trip segment on Chronicle. I guess I didn't realize how many people watch Chronicle.
Every night.
Had a lot of people comment on Daffodil parades because Chamber sent a B-roll of, because it was after the fact. So it was cute.
Yeah, it was good, it was a great daffodil weekend,
Yeah.
it was a great. I
Once we got
thought.
through Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
It was really, really great people, and the daffodils were absolutely beautiful, they
Well,
performed
we've had so
very
much
well.
rain.
And
They were fat and
trained.
happy because of the rain we've
Yeah.
had. That's why. Then the colors come out a little bit with the rain. I went to one of the flower shows up at Tower Hill Botanic Garden. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a lovely spot in West Boylston. But they have a wonderful luncheon place, and it's the first time I had seen boxed water.
Oh, I know, isn't that
Yeah.
They had
wild?
totally gotten rid of.
But you know, the
Yeah.
problem with that is the stuff that is inside is not recyclable.
Recyclable, yeah.
Yes, but this
Oh.
this was their attempt at, you know, not having a plastic water bottle.
But it is
Is it
plastic.
compostable?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
This is not a bottle.
Yeah, that's
But
Right.
this is, I tell you, this is mixed marketing because it's
Yeah.
boxed water. So you think
Yeah.
it is something that you want.
Yeah.
But if you read the fine print, it isn't.
So it's not like a milk carton, the way it's,
Milk cartons can't be recycled either.
yeah.
They can't either. So it's the same thing.
I had one thought about this thing about the JetBlue flight arriving at 7 a.m., disgorging 100 passengers, transportation problem. One way to handle it is to try to deal with having a shuttle bus. The other thing is, would I be correct in assuming that the cab drivers are smart enough to know that they should check the airline schedules and know that there's,
I'm questioning the, yes.
I mean,
Somebody
100
that
people
stood
getting
out
off, you
there,
know,
they started today, yeah.
that's the place to be at 6:55 a.m. I mean, do we
I should
need
have
to
brought the
tell them that, or
schedule
do they
in.
know that?
You're saying there's a JetBlue coming in at 7 a.m.?
I don't know what time, I'm saying that there are several planes starting in midnight.
Jets is what I heard. You
Jets,
said
yeah.
jets.
Yeah.
There's gonna be
Yeah.
more jets coming in, and there may be
I think it's a
yeah.
Boston flight from JetBlue that's around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. Is that right?
But in June, they
It's
really
JetBlue
start
from
picking
New
up.
York around that
More and
time
more.
for
Yeah,
us to
during
go
the
like
peak
that
season,
yesterday.
they're throwing more
They
planes
show
in
up at the
Nantucket.
inn, like right in the middle of breakfast, which
Every year,
is.
I'm not quite sure what.
One question, because there are so many more flights and more chances for flights to get canceled and problems,
There's no
what
food.
is the contingency again, like, as we get into peak season, if all of a sudden there's like up and down the East Coast massive cancellations and we're all full, what happens?
We have a flyer, rack card or flyer that we make up that is at the info desk down by the restaurant that says what happens if your flight cancels, because it'll give you the options of what boats are, you know, able to go off island,
Yeah.
as well as, you know, we have the room list, you know, available for people to take. You know, it's downloaded from the website, but, you know, the thing is that the main thing is, our thing, will say, here's what boats are leaving, and here are what buses are going to Boston. So if you're trying to get to
Okay.
Boston or so, or even to New York, at least, you know, there's that option out there at the desk.
Okay, so the default is to try and possibly just push them off island with a different form of transportation?
That, and we
I
have a
don't
direct
mean
line
push
to
off,
God
but-
to move the fog.
No, I know, but you know what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
as there are more and more flights and there's a bigger chance of them canceling and all of us are booked, it just needs big groups of people that,
Oh, the school is open.
Sleeping on the beach.
The school will be open if there's a
does
total
it,
emergency.
that's
Yeah.
just what I was curious
Well, the
about.
plan, the
Emergency
plan that
management
we
takes
had
a lot.
originally with the airline was that the people at Cape Air, at the Cape Air counter, for example, would say, there is a plan B, go get that brochure. There should be someone from the airline there to say, if you need to catch a flight out of Boston, if you take a cab and get on this ferry and get this bus, you will be able to get to Boston in time for your flight. And it's all kind of laid out, but they need some guidance so that there's a built-in flexibility. So you say, yes, you will have time to get through security and you will be able to make that flight, so call up and change your reservation.
Is there
But
an info
it
person?
requires cooperation with the airline, and that's been a hard thing to arrange.
And in some
Otherwise,
cases,
the
if people can't get
Yeah,
out,
just
people
like
can't
not-
get in.
From us.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to the
You,
airport.
you don't remember the stroll
like
when
an
everybody
info
came
conference.
over a day trip around the
Oh, no,
morning
no, no,
boat,
I,
and
yeah,
and
that wasn't
just
that
they
long
ended up at the
ago.
high
They-
school.
Yeah, there used to be representatives.
Yeah.
There used
Okay.
to be, what were they called, David? Sorry, Mary.
Concierge?
The ambassadors.
Ambassadors, yeah.
But we had people out there from the visitor service. That's something for the last 9 years we've talked, trying to get that information.
Yeah.
Just exactly what Karen's talking about. And it does concern me this year because there's more and more flights coming out of White Plains and
Right.
Retrix and JetBlue, as well as the regular.
Yeah.
and
So I
Delta.
think we should
The
bring
big
Noah
regular-
and Tom in next month to talk
Yeah,
about.
That would be
That-
actually really
Yes,
great.
because,
Yeah, that's
because
important.
it's,
That would be great.
it's not up, but it would be nice to get to these airlines, because that's exactly what they do. Run out and ask the taxis, and you're trying to look up all the numbers and
Mhm.
go, know the schedule and get them to where they have to go, and it's usually, we've got 8 minutes to get to the boat, and it's gonna take me
Yeah.
8 minutes to get out of the airport.
Yeah.
Right.
Took me 10 to get from
So,
Espresso to go to the Rotary this morning.
yes.
And everybody should be clear.
I have
you know.
actually taken people from a flight last summer from Nantucket for airport to the White Elephant, and it took me longer than the flight did from New York, by 5 minutes. So, I mean, we all have these stories.
I have to go.
So, all right, Mary, is there anything else you want to talk about? Or do you want to have them come again to talk to us about getting that information out?
Yeah, I thought I'd extend an invitation.
You mean the airport?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's an
That would be
important missing
great.
link.
because I think
I do
it's,
too,
Yeah.
but I
the numbers of
always
planes have
thought that.
changed
Yes.
since the last time we
He
talked.
was here the first fall that I was in this job
Yeah.
to report on the summer, but I think we need to talk proactively.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I can just tell you that you want to be clear, the objective here is to avoid the last experience that a tourist has as being a bad experience when they leave. They say it was a great time, and then I had this nightmare, and I never want to go back again. And the problem has always been, there needs to be some way to coordinate, you know, a mass production of a solution for a whole bunch of people that have the same problem. You say, you need to all get on this ferry, and you need to all, you know, get on that bus, and, or whatever it is, and then you're gonna make your flight. And there needs to be just one person to make that happen.
Okay, we'll talk about that with them next month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Should, yeah.
Is there a motion to
We'll be
adjourn?
volunteers.
Sure.
So moved.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Yep.
moved.
Thank you, sorry, second, thank you. My hearing. Karen, I hope you feel better.
Okay,